Hi everyone and welcome to Theme Park Worldwide, where it's time for episode 6 of building Primrose Forest in Planet Coaster 2 here on Theme Park Worldwide. And in this episode I'm going to be continuing on building the Greek themed area that I started construction on last week with the B&M Inverted Coaster, 2 flat rides, both a magic carpet and also a Zamperla Disco. And along with that I put all the pathways into place. I started with a little bit of the theming, just kind of having a bit of a play around with it. And here we go. It's time to get a bit more serious with the theming in this episode. But honestly, once again, just want to say thank you so much for all of your kind words and support on me and Charlotte's big news this week. Honestly, we really do appreciate it. Thank you for all your comments that have been flooding in. Honestly, it really does mean the world to us. But I am going to need some names later on in this episode. Not baby names, but a name for the B&M Inverted Roller Coaster. So of course, get them coming in later on in the episode. I'll talk all about that, and you're going to start to get a bit of an idea on the theme that we're going for this B&M Invert. Honestly, I'm just so excited with everything going on. It's amazing. But here we go. Right then, so I've started work on the bridge area just here, and as you can see, we've got some nice archways actually over the bridge area with a covered over section for no real reason other than it just looks pretty, to be honest. And that's kind of the logic behind a lot of my designs in parks. I just like things to look pretty and have nice photo opportunities and moments where anybody can just walk around and enjoy the park. And I spoke a lot about that in the previous episode to this one with the big plaza area, basically saying that areas like that are just so important in theme parks for just allowing people to relax and just take in the ambience and enjoy the park. Maybe park up the pram at the side, you know, that sort of thing. But no, that's the kind of idea with what we've got with this covered over area. Just a nice bit of shelter. Again, if the weather's not great, you can stand underneath and maybe kind of, you know, eat your food from these little quick service booths that we're going to put around here. There's going to be a few little quick service booths just around the courtyard area. But then there is going to be a larger restaurant, probably a similar size to Viking that we've got in the Vikings area. Still love that name. You guys are amazing with all these name suggestions. I love it. So yeah, well, obviously with that big restaurant that we did, multi-level, going to be building something similar, but obviously with the Greek theme to go in this area. But yeah, the plan is with this area to do lots of different styles of buildings, some with archways. I already like the blue, turquoisey blue roofs that I've got just here. I think they fit really nice with the colour scheme. You've got the gold strips and gold plates. It's all going to be very kind of royal and very over the top with the buildings that we're working on in this area. And already you can see that with this first proper building here. Obviously in the last episode I just kind of put the foundations in place for the station and a couple of smaller bits like the entrance of the queue line for the B&M inverts. But you're really going to start to get a feel now for how this area is going to look. And yeah, this is the first kind of main building that I'm putting into this area. The good news is with the mythology theme in Planet Coaster 2, you've got a lot of different styles of walls and props around. I feel like the buildings can be a lot more varied than what we did in the Vikings area. And I'm really happy with how the Vikings area came out. You know, I really am. And like I say, I always listen to your feedback on these episodes. And no, I'm really happy with how that came together with all the buildings and everything. It doesn't mean that I won't go back and make changes at some point, because I'm sure I will do, to just add in little bits or changing things. No, overall, I think that turned out nice. I liked how all the buildings kind of looked quite similar and had that same sort of feel, because I think it really made the area. But obviously with this, we're going to have a bit more variety, because it's going to be, you know, your big kind of royal Greek kind of palaces, what we're having here. And the station for the invert's going to be like that. You'll see that shortly in the episode. But also we're going to have these smaller buildings as well. I mean, I've never actually been to Greece in person. I'd like to go at some point in the future, but obviously you see a lot of pictures of white buildings with like blue roofs and gold plated and windmills and all that kind of thing. So obviously we're going to have that kind of feel going on just here. I'm probably going to stay away from the windmills. I might do one, but mainly because the Vikings area's got quite a few of them, and I don't want it to be too repetitive with having loads of windmills and stuff in this area. But still, we might add one, maybe on the restaurant, possibly, because we didn't do one on the Viking restaurant. So we may do that like a on there, but we'll just see how things go. In terms of like the next kind of phase of this area after this episode, it's going to be working on the theming for the flat rides. I don't really touch them in this episode. It's more kind of getting the foundations in place for the coaster, the theming around the coaster, kind of starting the queue line a little bit, and just getting a good gist for the area. But yeah, in the next episode, we'll be working on the flat rides, theming them up, and just genuinely fleshing out the rest of the area before continuing on round the corner. Obviously, we'll do the restaurants in the next episode. And then after that, going to be working on a dark ride for this park. Obviously, we've not got a dark ride here yet. We've got the water ride, Marnie, which I really like, and obviously how that's got the dark ride sections, but we're going to have a full-on Omnimover style dark ride going into Primrose Forest. So yeah, that's going to be coming up in a couple of episodes time. And then after that, we're going to be opening the park. We're going to open it up. I know a lot of you liked that idea in the comments on the previous episode. So we're going to open up the park and just let people in, see how the guests react to it all, really. I tell you what, this building's looking nice. So we've got the big door on there with the curtain, all the pots and things out the front. These flame torches are lovely. I really like them. And it's just so nice to work with new themes in this game. Obviously, you know, Original Planet Coaster came out 8 years ago. You know, so I built quite a few different parks in Original Planet Coaster. So for me, just playing like with all these new themes is fantastic in Planet Coaster 2. Obviously, you know, I'm looking forward to more DLC, and I've pre-recorded this episode because we're away, of course, on our trip to Europa Park and Disneyland Paris. I hope you've been enjoying all the content so far, especially that big announcement that we made. Yeah, obviously, you know, I've pre-recorded this episode, so I don't know yet exactly what's come out in the update. By the time this video goes on, the update will have probably come out from Planet Coaster. Obviously, we knew that there was going to be some fireworks coming in, some other things, but I'll talk about that in the next episode, episode 7, because that'll be filmed once I'm back, and obviously in that main last kind of run up to Christmas. Not long to go now until the festive season, which is really exciting. How you're getting on with Christmas preparations? Yeah, comment down below. I'd love to know how you're getting on. Ready for Christmas? Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it? I love the festive season, and we've already filmed a lot of festive content across both of our channels. We've got more coming up here on Theme Park Worldwide, and also the Sandbrook Adventures as well. So yeah, we look forward to sharing all of that with you all. So just putting in some more little details around the area. I like these kind of fallen ruin sections that you can get in the game. Obviously the columns just there as well. These look nice. Kind of reminds me a lot of Rome, like walking around the Roman Forum. I'm sure many of you have done that before, and if you've never had the opportunity to do it, we were in Rome this summer for our honeymoon, and we actually had a walk all the way around the Colosseum and the Roman Forum in a video on the Sandbrook Adventures. So check that out if you haven't already seen it. It was really nice, actually. I love walking around there. I've done it before in the past, but it was nice to kind of have an updated look and take Charlotte for the first time as well, which was really exciting. But yeah, that kind of gave me a bit of inspiration. And I know we're going with more of a Greek feel here with this, but still, like all the columns and that architecture, that style fits really as well, doesn't it? Like you could do a really nice Roman area with all of this. That's the thing in Planet Coaster. It's a mythology theme pack that they've got just here as part of the base game, you know, so you can do what you want with that, really. Just having like all the columns and everything, you know, you can make like some big grand fantasy palace if you wanted to, you know, so yeah, like, and as much as there isn't like a direct fantasy theme yet in the game, as far as when I'm recording this anyway, it could have been announced by the time you're watching this, but when I'm recording this there isn't. So yeah, I think it's one of them that for me, you can use that to make something fantasy if you wanted to. I like this fence style, and obviously I mentioned in the previous episode how I'd been back to the Vikings area from your feedback and lowered some of the sections there, lowered some of the wooden poles around some of the fences to open it up. So yeah, with this I've decided to have this fence a bit more open anyway round here, instead of having it like blocked in like them wooden log fences. With this, obviously you can see through it straight away anyway. They're like metal fences, and they've got like a turquoisey, greeny, bluey colour. So yeah, I think they fit quite well. Turquoisey, greeny, blue. There you go. All them different colours rolled into one. But yeah, that looks pretty good. This is the entrance to the queue line for the B&M Inverted Coaster, and we're working on a nice Greek-style structure for this. Now, obviously the main station building, which you can see there just behind it on the left, that's going to be very grand. It's going to have all sorts going on, which is going to be really nice. These big columns and a real kind of wow factor about the station. But obviously we still want to give the actual entrance to this queue line some wow factor as well. And there's going to be some lovely views of the coaster from around the queue line. That's something that I'm really trying with Planet Coaster this time, is to add even more around the queue lines, just to make them really nice places for guests visiting the park, because everybody likes a nicely themed queue line, don't they? Nobody likes a big cattle pen, so I'm trying my best to not do big cattle pens, to do more wide open queue lines. And with this, it's nice because obviously you come straight through this little queue building here, to the right hand side, and you're directly underneath the lift hill. You're underneath that kind of section before you drop down underneath the pathway, which I love. I'm really happy with that, and I'm glad that a lot of you like that as well. I think that looks really nice going under the pathway, and yeah, just kind of going up into that kind of cutback overbank element. So yeah, you're going to get some great views from the queue line of the ride itself. I'm loving this new theme in there. I think it looks great, and the mythology pack, I really do. I think it looks awesome. We've kind of done the entrance to the queue line there. We're going to do that now on a much bigger and grander scale with the station building itself just here. Obviously starting off with the columns at the bottom. And when it comes to building in Planet Coaster, everyone's got their own ways that they find easiest. You can do a line to surface, which basically means it'll go flat onto that surface, whether it's flat or on a side or however you want it. You can do like angle snap, where it'll kind of put it in the position where it thinks it's right for you. You know, you can see them all on the right hand side there, like stick to surface, snap distance, you know, the scale, which is a great new feature in Planet Coaster 2. I love the fact you can scale items, and so much of the scenery now in this game you can scale, which is fantastic. But what I'm saying is everyone's got their own building styles and techniques that they find the easiest. It's like for me, I find it easier with the scaling feature using my mouse and going up and down on it, whereas I know a lot of people find it easier using your keyboard. So it's whatever you find the easiest with this game, ultimately, that you enjoy the most, because that's why we play something like this. It's because you enjoy it, isn't it? So yeah, do what you find easy. It's like building a coaster. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that build a coaster very different to how I built the Invert just here. But do what, you know, you find the easiest. And like I say, for me, with this game, I'm more into the overall aspect of the theme park, the theming, the landscaping and how it looks, rather than trying to make like the ultimate roller coaster. You know, I want great coasters in the park, don't get me wrong, we all want great coasters when we go to theme parks, but for me there's more to that than just getting a great coaster. I want to create an immersive experience, I really do, and that's what I enjoy the most at theme parks. And I often get asked, actually, like, you know, are you just a roller coaster enthusiast or are you a theme park enthusiast? I am 110% a theme park enthusiast. I would rather take a beautifully themed overall experience over something that's got no theming. But granted, I do still enjoy, of course, a huge extreme coaster, like the loss of King Dakar a few weeks ago at Six Flags Great Adventure was really sad. Like, I think that was a really sad time for everyone involved, because obviously, you know, it's an iconic, huge ride, and that didn't need theming. Like, you know, it was the tallest roller coaster in the world, one of the fastest out there, and it was just so sad seeing it go. So yeah, I do, for me, you know, I love stuff like that, but I do also prefer a themed experience. It's like, for me, like what Alton Towers did with Nemesis Reborn was fantastic. Like, you know, creating that themed experience around it, I was a big fan of. What I'm not a fan of is removing all the flat rides. But don't worry, this park, as you've already seen, has got plenty of supporting flat rides. And we'll definitely have a plan in place for in 20 years' time, when all these rides start becoming tired, they get replaced, like a theme park should do. Have a proper succession plan in place for their rides. But still, that's another story. Check out that video from a little while back here on the channel now, talking about the big changes at Alton Towers to the ride offering for next year. Obviously, by the time you're watching this, it's been like a couple of weeks really since that announcement, but as I'm filming this, it's very fresh in my mind, and yeah, I said a lot what I wanted to say in that video. It's so frustrating, isn't it? But still, carrying on here with the station building for the inverted coaster, looking very nice, very happy with the style of this. We've got the big columns on either side, so we've got 4 sets of 3 columns, that nice kind of structure on the top, but then also we've blocked it in the middle just to give it a bit more depth. Add in some roof panels across there now, and again, there's no, like, I wasn't trying to copy a design of a building in Greece or anything like that here, just my own ideas, my own inspiration for what we've created just here, and I was quite proud of how this turned out, actually. You know, after it had finished, it reminded me of a building in Rome, actually. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a massive building in Rome. I think it's some kind of government building. But you go up like loads of steps. It's a white building. You got loads of steps, and then it's got all these big columns, and it's got like a viewpoint on the top. We did film it, actually, in the vlog we did on the Sandbrook Adventures over summer. But after I'd built it here, I was thinking, it looks a little bit like that. But in my mind, it wasn't intended to look like that. But yeah, like I say, I've been to Rome a few times, but never been to Greece. I'd like to at some point. Maybe need to add Greece to my bucket list. You know me, wherever there's theme parks, I'll go. But I don't think there's lots on offer theme park wise in Greece. But yeah, I need to do a bit more. Yeah, go and get out there and keep on riding, really, and see what there is out there in the future. But yeah, this is looking really nice. This is going to be like the biggest and grandest kind of building close to the main pathway here. Because you want that wow factor. And as much as inside the station, you know, it's all just going to be low level. This is all just for that impact on the outside, really. But yeah, I think it's going to look really nice. And obviously I was saying that I'm not too sure on the colour scheme for the coaster in the last episode. I think like after playing more of the game and getting it more into, you know, how the area's looking, I'm quite happy with the colours. I think we're going to keep the supports black. We're going to keep the track white. And you can see I've recoloured the train now as well. So it's not got that like orangey red look on there now. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to keep the colour scheme like it is. Obviously a lot of the buildings fit with that now, like this turquoisey colour. Things like the flags that were added on here. It all just looks nice. For me, I like to pick like 3 or 4 colours for an area and then like have them all like featured on them buildings. And as much as we've got some very different style of buildings here, I mean, this is completely different to what I was building 10 minutes ago, you know, with that the archways and more of like a townhouse style building that we were going for, like a Greek townhouse. Obviously here, we've got this big grand palace building, and as it should be, it's a big grand coaster for this park. This will probably be the biggest coaster in the park for quite some time. Like I say, I've got plans for a dark ride next. We're going to open the park then, and then we're going to be working on the water park. So you're probably not going to see another big coaster like this in the park for quite some time. And it all depends really on what themes we get next in the game. I mean, like I say, you know, this is pre-recorded by, you know, quite a while before it's gone on, so we could have heard a lot more about what's coming into the game, or granted, they could have even added loads of new themes by the time this is on. And if they have, I'll talk about them in the next episode. But for me, like a lot of people are asking, oh, you know, how big is this park going to be? How many areas is there going to be? The answer to that is, I don't know what there's going to be in this park past the water park. I've got a little bit of an idea about one more area that I might do using what they have got in the game already. I was thinking about doing a steampunk area. Now, obviously this would be a smaller area than what we've got here, but we haven't really got like any rides for the kids yet, like any junior rides. So I was thinking about doing a steampunk area, which is mainly aimed at the kids, maybe with 1 or 2 bigger rides, but mostly like a steampunk family area. Obviously, one of my favourite uses of steampunk, if not the best use, for me is Ruckberg at Phantasialand in Germany. I mean, I reference Phantasialand a lot during these episodes, but what they do there is incredible. It really is. Like, their themed areas are taking it to another level. And obviously, Disney and Universal build some amazing, spectacular areas. Of course, Disney have been doing it for a long time. Universal have been catching up with that now, and we're like, especially like with Harry Potter areas and Epic Universe and things. But you know, Phantasialand, they combine like the big thrill rides, don't they, with immersive theming. And yes, Universal has got big thrill rides, but really you don't see a lot of heavy theming around their big thrill rides. It's like Velocicoaster, it's beautiful, I love it to bits, but it's not really got loads of theming around the ride. You've got the station building, which is gorgeous, and then you've got some rocks and landscaping. But what Phantasialand do is they take it to that next level with buildings and food like court mixed into the ride areas. It's madness how they build their areas. So yeah, that's why I always reference Phantasialand a lot. It gives me a lot of inspiration. I think it's an amazing park, and what I appreciate is they don't do IP, they just build these wonderful non-IP original areas, and I just think that's spectacular. I really do. Like, it's a beautiful park. I look forward to getting back at some point in the future. I really do. But yeah, in terms of more details being added in here, it's just adding them layers, and that is basically what I do here. You put the main foundation in, which are the walls. These are nice marble walls actually that we're using here, and again, we want to have some nice variety with the different styles of buildings that we're working on here. But yeah, like, just adding and adding and adding until you think it looks great. You can see we've got some nice big flame torches on there, and a nice sign on the front in a very Greek font that says, "Name this ride." So here we go. Of course, you've seen the B&M Invert. I built it in the previous episode. We're going to need a name for this ride, and I will be revealing it in the next episode. So get your suggestions coming in. We need a name and, of course, a storyline for the B&M Inverted Coaster. There's a lot of different ideas you could go for with this, especially with it being this kind of Greek area, mythology, you know, go down whichever route you want to with this, really. I'm excited to read all of your name suggestions and also storylines for this. So, of course, get them coming in down below in the video comments, ready for the next episode. Like I say, get your suggestions in within the next kind of 3 or 4 days if you can do. Because, yeah, I release 1 episode a week normally here on the channel. Yeah, like get them in just in case I do end up, you know, getting some more time playing the game and I release the episode early. So to be guaranteed to be in for a chance, because if you've got a great idea, of course, get them coming in. And as always, you'll get a shout out in the video as well. Right then, so we're going to start kind of fleshing out the area a little bit more here now. What I'm doing here is using these archways, not to actually build a building, but just to create a nice little viewpoint there, looking at the final section of the inverted coaster. Now, obviously with this, I've angled all the archways along the pathway, just so it fits in line with the pathway in that corner that we've got there. It's not going to be a full building. Literally, that is all we're adding on here. And that the whole idea with this is just to add some kind of immersion to that path on the left, because I didn't want to put a building directly there fully, because that's going to block the view of the coaster. And I want lots of buildings around here, but we also don't want to block some fantastic views of a great ride. So I thought, let's just put this little archway in the side. It'll fill it in. It's a bit more than just having more fencing down there. And then we'll put some nice flowers and things behind it. It'll also work as a great photo opportunity for people as well, because there's actually going to be a toilet block opposite there. So whilst people are waiting for others in the toilet and stuff, there's somewhere for people to go and stand, look out over the ride, maybe have a sit down and just wait for others whilst they're in the toilet, you know, or just in general, if you're walking into the area and think, wow, let's go and get a nice shot there. Obviously the coaster is going to emerge out of the tunnel just there after completing its final like cutback element, and then it's going to come out of there and yeah, spin round, of course, into the final brake run. But every time I say cutback, I keep thinking of Alton Towers and all these ride removals. The cutback elements just there. Yeah, Alton Towers 2025. Oh, I hope things get better next year. I really hope so. But here we go. Right, then toilets are going into place now, just to the right hand side of the cutback. And yeah, we've got 2 toilets in there just for capacity. As I mentioned a few episodes back, I like putting plenty of toilet facilities in, because especially by big rides, a lot of the time you've waited in an hour or a 90-minute queue, you need to go to the toilet after, don't you? So I thought, let's add these pretty close to the exit and also entrance for the inverted coaster. We're going to have another set of toilets around the corner. I think for me, a general rule of thumb with the areas at this park is we'll have 2 toilet blocks per area. And when I say 2 toilet blocks, this is classed as 1 that I've built here, even though it's got like 2 actual booths in there. I class it as 1 actual toilet block, 1 toilet building. In the Vikings area, we built 1 close to the main entrance, and then also we built 1 right by the big restaurant as well, the 2-story restaurant that we built a couple of episodes back. So yeah, with this, we'll have this one here, and then likewise, we're going to have the restaurant. What I kind of like to do is, because I think this is really good when parks do it, a good example I can think of is at Efteling in the Netherlands, regarding toilets. You were getting technical now, talking about toilets. So yeah, with what I like to do is, like at Efteling, you've got the restaurant like in the train station, right at the back of the park by like the big pirate ship and the little car ride and Python there, the coaster. But you've got like a separate entrance to the toilets from the main path, so it doesn't just look like it's a restaurant only. I think that's really clever. Instead of just having it, you know, the toilet's hidden away just in the restaurant, it's quite nice how it's all connected with a pathway. So restaurant guests can go in there, but also from the path. So that's what I tried to do with the design of the Viking restaurant, which we did a couple of episodes back, and we'll probably do that with the big Greek restaurant that we've got here. One thing I'm really hoping for in the update that has now come out by the time you're watching this episode, but I'm filming this in advance, so I've not seen it yet, is I'm hoping we have more options for food. That's why at the moment I've put in a lot of the same food stalls, to be honest, like pizza and hot dogs and stuff. To be honest, my sort of food that I like when I go to a theme park. But obviously I'm hoping for a lot more options for food to put into the park, because yeah, it's very samey. Luckily, I can just go and swap them out. We don't have to edit the building. We can just go in there, swap a couple of food outlets out if they bring some more in. Obviously, at the moment, they could just be a bit of a placeholder, because yeah, there's just not many options for food in the base game at the moment. You've got like little stalls, like what they have at Disney and Universal and stuff. You know, like the little food like carts and stalls. Like they've got a lot of them. But for me, like, I think this park is a British-based park, so it's probably not a good idea just having them outside. They're going to get soaked, the staff working on there. So yeah, I'm probably just going to stick to doing like actual booths instead of putting them around, unless we maybe do like a little market area, or in the water park maybe we might do something. In the back of my mind, I've been kind of getting the ideas ready for the water park and deciding what I want to do with that as well. But yeah, I've got a few good ideas for the water park. I won't get into that just yet. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I've got some good ideas for the water park that's going to be coming in, which is going to be really exciting. And I am going to go for the name Primrose Lagoon. We've got Primrose Forest, and then we're going to have Primrose Lagoon, which will be the water park next door. I'm also going to be doing a lot more infrastructure. I'm going to be adding more car parks. I'm probably going to build a hotel as part of the water park complex, or some form of accommodation. And along with that, do more roadways. And obviously, if you remember, like way back at the start of this, before I started the actual series, but I did like a little look at the first look at the game, and there was a bus. If you remember, there was like a coach. So what I'm thinking of doing is burying that track underneath some of the roads and having like it functioning as like a bus driving you around the car parks and connecting things. That's my idea anyway. So I think that would look pretty cool in the game. So I think I'm probably going to do that, which will look really nice. Talking of looking nice, lots of hashtag rock work going in just here, all the way round. Obviously, we've got the nice blue plants. We're going to have a lot of planting in this area. The Vikings area, due to the nature of that theme, didn't really have much actual planting around, like flowers and bushes and things, whereas we're going to do that with this area. We're just going to add lots of flowers around. We've got some pinks, we've got some blues. We want this to be a lot brighter. The Vikings area, because of the theme, was naturally a lot darker. You know, it was a lot more dingy, a lot more browns. We had that like maroon, like dark red colour around. So I thought, let's go for some really nice bright colours. We've got the blues, we've got the gold on some of the decor. We've got the white, obviously, lots of white in here. And then obviously, yeah, we've got these different buildings. So the building that I'm starting work on here now is purely for decorative purposes. It's not going to be a functional building because basically behind that part of the coaster where I've built a berm and put the trees on, that's going to be basically hiding the show building for the dark ride. So the idea was, I don't want you to walk down here to the plaza and see a massive show building behind the coaster. So we've built a berm just there. There will be some more trees going on it as well. And the idea is we're going to put the show building for the dark ride behind that. I'm always like planning that next stage with this because sightlines and stuff are so important in my opinion. So I just wanted to make sure we got that right. So this building's purely for decorative purposes, just to look pretty. It could maybe be used for maintenance or storing things in a real life park. But yeah, we don't need any guest access to this. There's going to be no pathways going over to it or anything like that. It's literally just going to be there for decorative purposes. And that's why we're going to use a little bit of forced perspective on here as well, which Disney, of course, do really well. And in areas like at Universal as well, where they use forced perspective, we're gonna do that. And if you're not familiar with that term, basically when you walk down Main Street USA at the Disney parks, you walk down and you've got like the lower level where all your doors are of course a real height. You walk through them into shops and restaurants. You got the windows and everything that are all real. But then the next level up, they make everything a little bit smaller. So you think it's the same size, but actually it's not. So when you're walking through on ground level, it's that forced perspective that they have just there. Basically, it means that you don't need to spend as much money, you know, to make things look tall and grand because of forced perspective. And you see that a little bit in like some of the Harry Potter areas at Universal and things as well, making windows and chimneys and things smaller as you get taller up. It's a term that a lot of theme parks use. But Disney, I think, probably do it more than anyone because obviously it does save cost, but it looks good. So it's like with this, you know, we're doing this big grand building. We didn't need to make these columns massively tall and the windows full size because you're seeing this from a distance. And that's why I'm reducing the scale. So when you're walking down to this area, you're just going to see that over the water and kind of in the distance just there as well. So there you go. Just wanted to add that one in there. Right, we've got a ship going in just here. Now, obviously, we've got a lot of Viking ships in the opening area. I think, you know, with this being a forest park, lots of water, having plenty of boats is a great idea. And luckily, these look completely different to the ones we did in the Vikings area. They've got like a little face on the front. How cute is that? And yeah, you've got the big sail. You can change the scale. So we've gone for a smaller one on the back there of the river. We've gone for the bigger one down on the bigger lake just there. I might change the position of that depending on how the theming goes when I work on the Zamper the Disco in the next episode. But I was quite happy with the position of that for now. Obviously, what I'm planning on doing with that is kind of fleshing it out with rocks and some buildings around, just to make it look nice and full around the Zamper the Disco, and kind of cover up that well, not netting, but it's like a sheet, what goes around. It looks very temporary. Obviously, we're going to completely change that and get some different colours in there and things as well. Same with the magic carpet, and the fact we can attach theming as well is going to be great. So we'll attach some theming to these. Just added a couple of food outlets in here on the plaza. Obviously, this big like kind of courtyard plaza area is primarily designed as a relaxing space, a chilled area to appreciate the beauty of this inverted coaster, which I need to name. So get them suggestions coming in for the next episode. But yeah, we've got this little takeout area where you can just grab a pizza or a drink or something and just take out and sit down there and enjoy it. Especially in the summer months, this would be a really nice spot just to relax and enjoy the ambience of the park. This was kind of inspired a little bit by Portaventura in Spain, in the China area, how you've got that viewing area, that big, you know, that big plaza where you've got Dragon Khan's entrance and Shambhala behind it, and then you've got the theatre on the other side. I wanted that kind of big open feel that we've got just here, so that's kind of what I went for. I'm also planning on adding an outdoor theatre stage. I think that'd be quite nice in this area somewhere, using the columns and just having like a performance space outside. So we may do that. I might possibly try and add that in with the restaurants, maybe on the side of that, but we'll see how it goes. You have to come and tune into the next episode for that one. But of course, they take a long time to put these episodes together, so I really do appreciate it. Giving the video a big thumbs up if you enjoy watching. Honestly, it shows me that you're really enjoying this series. Like I said, throughout the series, it takes a lot to put these episodes together. I've played a lot of Planet Coaster over the past few weeks. I really have. Making the most of it, putting it all together. But no, it's looking really good, and I'm very happy with it. And I love just playing in this game and having fun with it. That's the main thing. This is looking great from a distance though now. I'm really proud of how this turned out. Probably one of my favourite creations I've done in Planet Coaster so far this park. I think both the areas are looking really good, really immersive, lots to look at. Yeah, I'm just really happy with it. Obviously this building gets very close to the clearance envelope for the invert, so we just need to make sure that you know, it's not going to knock it. And clearance tests happen for real at theme parks. Literally, on a morning, they send staff on the rides and you put your hand out. Or at least that's the case at Merlin parks. They'll send the staff around on like Hyperion or Nemesis or something, and they put the hand out and see if they're going to touch any like branches or leaves or anything like that. You'd think there'd be a better way of doing it, wouldn't you, in this day and age? But as far as I'm aware, that's still the system. Any ride ops at Merlin while you're watching the video, comment down below and let me know if that's still the case. Because I know it always used to be when I worked there. They'd literally send someone on and you put your arm out, and you know, if you felt any leaves or anything, then obviously, yeah, you had to call out the gardener or tech services to come and chop it down. But yeah, someone will have to be doing that here, because look at all the trees that we've got around it. This big restaurant is going to go right there next to the Cobra Roll. It's going to be on that corner, and that's going to look really nice. So we'll work on that in the next episode. I can't believe it. I've been talking for 33 minutes. We're going to be coming towards the end of this episode shortly, but I hope it's gave you a good idea and a good feel for the mythology theming in Planet Coaster 2. I know for me, by this point, I was really happy with how it's coming together. I think the colours look really nice, the whites, the blues, the style of the buildings, like having these big kind of bows on the buildings as well. I want it to feel very grand, this area. I want it to be very like posh and grand, and you know, you got all these beautiful like marble buildings. It's all very white and colourful, and we've got all the pink in there too. I just think it looks really nice. We've got the blue as well, but of course there's still a lot more to add to this area. In the next episode we'll probably start off with the queue line for the coaster. We'll get that completed, and then along with that we'll then move on to the flat rides, get them done, and then on to the restaurant as well, just to get that completed before moving on to the dark ride and just any other enhancements for the for this area. I haven't decided yet on how big the dark ride is going to be. I don't think it's going to be a massive ride, but it's going to be, you know, I'd say a moderate, good length size dark ride. It's not going to be like a tiny one, but it's not going to be a massive like Pirates of the Caribbean style ride either. It's just going to be a nice Omnimover style ride, just to complement this area and kind of tie all the storylines and the theming together just here as well. But let me know in the video comments how you're getting on with your Planet Coaster 2 builds. I know a lot of you watching this are probably playing the game as well. I always love reading your comments, I really do, and even more so on this series because it's great to hear that so many of you are inspired by the builds in this game. I have so much fun putting all these together, and just reading your comments and knowing that you're inspired by the builds is fantastic. It really is. So I'm glad that you enjoy it so much as I like playing it. It takes a long time to build stuff in this game, but the results are worth it. And when you get to this point now where you're building these beautiful areas, you think, yeah, this is looking really good. If only it was real. As you can see here, I just removed the water temporarily for a moment, and then I struggled to get the levels right again. So I wanted it to match up with the water wheel, and then I thought, yeah, that's perfect. What I needed to do here was build up the land a little bit round the back, because obviously I decided to put like a building going up to the mid-course brake run. Obviously, I spoke in the last episode about like block sections and mid-course brake runs. Sometimes they can be really high up, but that also means that the ride can stop at that point. So for those of you that aren't familiar with how coasters work, obviously once it leaves the lift hill, it won't stop on the loop or the cobra roll, or it shouldn't unless it valleys like Hyperion did at Thorpe Park. It shouldn't stop on them elements as long as there's water dummies in every seat, and then it will come back round, but it can stop on the mid-course brake run. Now a lot of parks just leave the stairs exposed. You can see that on Dragon Khan at Port Ventura, B&M sit-down coaster, lovely ride, beautiful theming, but then you've got this ugly staircase. I didn't want that here, and neither did Europa Park with Voltron, because with that mid-course brake run, that's covered with this tower, like this church steeple that they've done. And I went for a similar style here, and then I thought it looks good, but we want to flesh that out a bit more because it just looks a bit tall and thin, and there's not really much going on. So I thought, let's build that out a little bit more at the bottom, put some more roofs on, some windows. And again, this won't be an accessible building for guests in the game. In real life, this would have a staircase inside, and it would literally be an evacuation point. But the reason we've built this is purely for realism. I know there's not really steps there bringing you down, but I thought instead of just building the staircase, let's build a tower. There's no point in actually putting the staircase there on the inside of it because you're not going to see it, and guests will never walk down it in the game. But just in case the ride did stop there, we've got that in place. Just there for realism purposes, really, you know, because if you're having a high up mid-course brake run, you're going to need steps there. Like, you won't ever see a mid-course brake run without stairs coming down, or I highly doubt it. I've certainly never seen one. Maybe if you go on some like knockoff ride somewhere in the middle of China or something, then maybe you might see a mid-course brake run without some stairs going to it. But in general, you should always see steps coming from them. Just down the bottom here now, just adding in some rocks at the bottom. Again, just around the base of that little building that we've put into place just there, and it sticks out into the water. And again, little buildings like this just add to the overall aesthetic of the design of the park. It doesn't really have a major purpose other than just looking pretty. You know, we could have just left the staircase in. A park on a budget would just leave a staircase in. But if you want to go to the next level with your theming and immersion, then obviously it's a good idea to block that in. So it's looking good. I tell you what though, you start zooming out of this area now and seeing it from different angles, it's looking great. And I'm really happy that the buildings are all looking a little bit different. We've got some different styles going on. You've got some lovely like additions to the buildings that you can put in. You can see them just here, but there's some really nice ones actually that you can put round, like the little finishers. That's the word I was going for, finishers, that you can add all the way around your buildings. So yeah, that's looking quite nice as we put them in just there on this big tower. And yeah, I think that looks better than just having a singular tower that I was originally planning. I think extending the building out at the bottom was definitely a good call for that down there. I think that looks really nice, and yeah, it just adds that little bit more to the area as well. So there we go. Yeah, you've got a good look there at how this is going to look when it's complete. Obviously, we're only a couple of episodes into building this area here, but I think it's, you know, for 2 episodes, it's looking really good actually. How much I've managed to get done. It feels like it's been quicker to build this than some of the Viking stuff, to be honest. Maybe because, you know, just got used to the game a lot more now. But I really like this theme a lot. I think you could do a beautiful like Roman area. Obviously we've gone for Greek here with all the white and blues and stuff, but you could do like a lovely Roman area here if you wanted to, or a bit more of a rundown derelict style. And you've probably noticed I've not gone for like that rundown derelict look with any of these buildings, and I'm probably not intending to with most of the things here. Maybe one of the flat rides may have that bit of a look. Maybe the Zamperla Disco, we might make it look a bit more like a derelict Greek building and have like bits of rubble and things falling off and not quite finished. But this area around this big coaster, I wanted it to be grand, majestic and spectacular for guests, and I think it would have took away from the theme if we'd have had it looking a bit ruined around there. I wanted this big grand ride that you know, certainly looks the part. But what I'm really happy with all of this is that none of it's visible from down at guest level in the Vikings area. I kept going back kind of off camera, going down to that guest view and just looking, because I didn't want anything to be visible of this, and it's all beautifully hidden. That's why we built this coaster further back than right down there at the front of the Vikings area, just so it would be a lot more immersive. I'm thinking about immersion a lot more in this part than any others, and that's why I've not built a tower ride yet. That's one of my biggest wishes for Planet Coaster 2. Please, Frontier, let us adjust the height of tower rides, because I may have done a drop tower by now in one of these areas, but I just don't want something, you know, massively tall. I want something what you can adjust the height, you know, and you just can't do that yet in the game. And yeah, I just really hope that comes in. Like I say, it may have happened in the update since the last episode, but as you're watching this, probably somewhere at Disneyland Paris, and still right now enjoying the final part of the trip, or we may have just got back after an amazing trip. And of course, a very special announcement. Once again, thank you so much for all of your kind words and support. We really do appreciate it. And of course, not just with our big news, but also with everything that we do here on the channel. Next year truly is going to be a very exciting year. Of course, it's going to be very different. There's going to be a lot of different things with things that we've got coming up next year. But you know what? I'm just so excited for it. It's just really emotional. Like, we can't wait to take you along for what is going to be a really, really special year. For the three of us. Like, honestly, it's going to be wonderful. It really is. And of course, make sure you check out all of our other festive content across both of our channels if you haven't already, because yeah, we've done lots for Christmas, and it's certainly going to be an extra special Christmas for us this year, our final Christmas as the two. Yeah, it just feels so surreal. It's so nice though, like, just being able to talk about it and tell you all about this, you know, after a few months of just kind of waiting and just making sure everything was okay. Just to be able to speak about it now and share our happiness with you all, it's just been wonderful. It really has. But as always, thanks so much for joining me here on Theme Park Worldwide. I really, really do appreciate all your continued support. And look at that visual there. The park is looking gorgeous. And come and join me in the next episode, where we're going to continue on theming this area. We're going to work on the flat rides, the restaurants, and just bring the rest of this area to life. I'll also share an updated POV from the Inverted Coaster. I'm Sean Sandbrook. Thank you for watching. And that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next episode.